Let me ask you this. What happens when one of the world's most dangerous hacker groups suddenly disappears and then re-emerges stronger, but hidden in plain sight? This is the true story of how Chinese hackers dominated global cyber competitions, then vanished without explanation and quietly transformed into a digital army, prepared not to win prizes, but to fight a silent war online. For years, Chinese hackers were the rising stars of international cybersecurity events, from Las Vegas to Vancouver. They crushed global hacking contests like Pound 2 targeting software giants Google, Microsoft, and Apple. But here's the twist. They weren't breaking the law. These were legal, ethical hacking competitions, where experts found security flaws and reported them in exchange for massive cash prizes, sometimes up to $1 million. These so-called zero-day vulnerabilities, flaws that no one else had ever discovered, were gold mines for companies trying to patch their systems. And China's hackers? They were winning big, until suddenly, they vanished. After 2017, international cybersecurity circles noticed something strange. The once dominant Chinese hackers were nowhere to be seen. No competitions, no appearances, just silence. Was it a coincidence? A protest? Or something far more strategic? Then came the clue. A public statement from Zhou Hongyi, CEO of China's biggest cybersecurity firm, Qihu 360. He criticized Chinese hackers for showing their skills abroad, calling it a fantasy victory. He argued their discoveries were worth billions, not just prize money, and that their talents should serve national interests, not foreign firms. The message was clear, and someone was listening: China's government. Soon after, the Chinese government banned all cybersecurity experts from competing abroad. Instead, they launched a new national contest, the Tianfu Cup, China's own version of Pound 2. But this one came with a catch. Whatever vulnerabilities were discovered would first go to the Chinese government, not the companies. And the prize money? It was bigger than ever. In the very first event in 2018, a researcher named Qi Jun exposed a terrifying exploit in Apple's iPhone, one that allowed a hacker to remotely control your device, simply by making you open a malicious website. He named it KOS, and that name would become prophetic. A few months later, Apple quietly released an update, patching the flaw. But in August 2019, Google dropped a bombshell. Their researchers had uncovered a mass iPhone hacking campaign, targeting thousands of devices. And one of the exploits used was the exact same KOS flaw from Tianfu Cup. Who were the victims? Mostly Uyghur Muslims in China, a minority group already under heavy surveillance. And the attacker? It wasn't a rogue hacker. It was China's own government. This wasn't just a theory. Google's team matched the structure of the real-world hack with the original Tianfu Cup exploit and confirmed they were identical. From 2014 onward, China had been accused of genocide and human rights violations in Xinjiang. Uyghurs were being detained, sterilized, and tortured, their phones monitored for religious content. But the surveillance didn't stop there. Activists, journalists, dissidents, even ordinary citizens were being watched, tracked, and silenced through cyber tools. Then in 2024, more proof emerged. Hacktivists leaked internal data from a Chinese firm called iSoon, revealing they were building spyware tools, then selling them directly to the government and military. Each hacked inbox came with a price tag, sometimes up to $75,000. And now, China's digital army is looking outward. In recent years, Chinese state-backed hackers have breached the U.S. Treasury Department, infiltrated 9 major telecom companies, including AT&T and Verizon, targeted energy and water infrastructure, launched malware attacks on U.S. military bases, Experts believe these groups stay hidden inside systems for years, quietly observing until it's time to strike. This isn't just hacking anymore. It's cyber warfare, where lines of code can do what missiles once did. China is building something far bigger than a team of hackers. They're creating a nation-sponsored cyber army, one that doesn't need tanks or drones, just access and patience. In this war, a single vulnerability can bring down a power grid. A phone exploit can silence an entire population. And a tiny piece of code can crash a market or spark a conflict. This is the battlefield of the 21st century, and the war has already begun. If you found this story eye-opening, then like this video, subscribe to Let's Discover, and share it with someone who still thinks the biggest threats always come with bombs, not bugs.